Dr. Bartlink, you were contacted by my office for what purpose?
We were asked to analyze the skeletal remains of Tylee Ryan.
Okay. And I'd like you to go through the process of what steps you took to conduct that review and investigation.
Yeah, so me and my colleagues, Dr. Colleen Milligan and Ashley Kendall, came up to Rexburg, Idaho, and did an analysis of Tylee's remains on December 18th. We worked with the Rexford Police Department to unpack Tylee Ryan's remains and to sort them into anatomical position on a table so that we could conduct an analysis. We performed an inventory, which is a tabulation of all of the bones that were present. We also filled in a skeletal diagram indicating which portions of Tylee's remains were present and absent. Because she was already identified, we did not conduct an estimations of sex, age, etc. But we did conduct a trauma analysis by examining each bone to look for any kind of defects or modifications. And we also recorded the pattern of burning across the skeleton.
And the length of time in order for you to do this was approximately how long?
We conducted this in the span of one day, and it was 3 forensic anthropologists working together. And so we were able to conduct that work in approximately a 6 to 7 hour period between the 3 of us.
Okay. So 18 hours between the 3 of you approximately.
No, total of about 6 to 7 hours with us working all together simultaneously as a team.
Okay. So but the 3 of you were all engaged in work at the same time, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, and those folks were associates with your organization, is that correct?
Yes, they are professors that work with me in the Human Identification Lab and are professors at Chico State University.
Both PhDs?
Correct.
And both have similar experience and training and as you have, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Now, as part of your review and investigation, you prepared a report, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And I'm not going to go into every word in the report, but in essence, as part of your investigation, what did you discover in regards to the inventory of the remains?
We found that there were certain areas of Tylee Ryan's remains that were absent, and this included large parts of the vertebral column, most of the left and right arms, and large portions of the legs, kind of from mid-thigh down towards the ankle on at least one of the legs.
And Judge, could I utilize the Elmo device at this point?
Yes.
So I'm showing you a illustration from your report, and there is a laser pointer up there somewhere, if you can find it. And then off to your left is a large screen. And if you could just go through in general, the areas that you found were not present at the burial site of Tylee Ryan, and just basically describe each one for me, if you would.
Yeah, so the way that this skeletal diagram is labeled is on the left side is a front view of the skeleton, and on the right side is a back view. Anything that's colored in black was absent, which means we could not identify those portions of the body in the inventory. So we were missing a little bit of the skull from the left eye socket, a little bit here from the back of the skull. And then if we move down towards the limbs, we're missing almost all of the right arm, except for just the shoulder and a small piece of this forearm bone right here. We're missing almost the entire left arm, except for the shoulder. We are missing most of the ribs, but we were not able to label those individually because we could not determine which rib was which because they were burned and fragmented.
Okay, I'd have you stop there for just a moment, and please forgive my interruption, but when you say fragments of the ribs, is it your testimony that the majority of the rib cage was missing?
I wouldn't say the majority, but a large portion of the ribs were not represented in the inventory.
Okay.
Mr. Pryor, I apologize for the interruption. Could I have a quick sidebar with counsel, please?
Excuse me, Doctor. Judge, may I proceed?
All right, yes, apologies for that interruption on the sidebar. You can continue, Mr. Pryor.
So I think we were at the last, we let off, we talked about, I think my comment was the majority of the rib cage, but you said instead it was a large portion of them.
That is correct.
Okay. And then can you continue with your pointing out the different remains that you were unable to locate?
Yes. So as we move down, we can see that from about the mid thigh area, these are the femur bones, all the way down to just a little bit of the top of the shin bone here, the tibia bone. No bones could be found from those areas. And we had a little bit of the right leg here, missing this section down here. And then on the left leg, we have almost nothing represented from that leg, except for a few small fragments. So we're missing fairly large portions of the skeleton.
You're missing large portions of the skeleton.
That is correct.
Now, you are an expert in the area of forensic anthropology. And you mentioned that you are involved in the recovery as it relates to wildfire victims in California as well. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And that you have, and I don't know how to talk to you about this, but the part of your job is scientific testing of remains and the impact that they can have with fire. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And you conduct experiments in that regard, right?
We have done some training exercises and colleagues of mine have as well, where we have experimentally burned a willed body donor.
Okay, and I'm going to stop you there. What that is in a situation where someone has identified on their donor card that they would be willing to be part of a testing, scientific testing, and that's how you obtain the body to engage in your testing. Is that correct?
That is correct, and these are for training exercises for law enforcement and for search and rescue personnel.
Okay. And explain to me the process of what you did to run these tests of the will donor body.
So these tests typically involve kind of building what sort of looks like a funeral pyre out of pallets.
Okay, and when you say a funeral pyre, are we talking about a small brush fire?
It's usually multiple pallets, probably around 4 or 5.
4 or 5 pallets.
Yeah, to create enough fuel to burn the body.
So this is a large fire.
Correct.
Would the expression a bonfire be appropriate?
Yes, it would be, similar in size to a large bonfire.